Or Raver Heaven now on BBC Two. A new series begins a definitive guide to 8 of the world's most kicking cities. With strong language illegal parties and a school for DJs, Carl Cox and Pete Tong start in Sydney.
I've been all over the world, this DJing business, and it doesn't get much better than this. Sydney's got everything. The weather, the beaches, a quality and pace of life to rival anywhere, and of course one of the best clubbing scenes in the Southern Hemisphere. If you thought it was all beer and Barbies, forget it. This city's got loads to offer, and you won't go anywhere where they party harder.
Having a party, pretty much any circumstances, any time.
There's no club in this world that's better. It is unbelievable.
When you're having a party on the gun, it's just a really good atmosphere.
I think it's important to look good.
Hideous, darling, hideous.
Sydney is a massive pick-up joint. It's just simply a meat market.
People just don't know how hard we party down here.
Over the last few years, dance music's exploded in Australia. All the big-name DJs from Europe have been here, and they even let me play too. But now there's a place in Sydney that's dedicated to bringing through the new local talent, the United DJ Mixing School.
The initial idea of starting the school was to unite the best DJs in Australia and give their experiences, their knowledge to the youth.
I wish it was as easy as a couple of decks and a couple of records and off you go, but it's advanced, far from that. I'm sure you guys have all walked into a room that has a very bad sub-response, yeah?
We want to bring out new talent, bring out, new generation of DJs. They have their own style, they have their own originality.
All around Australia, there are youngsters dreaming of being the next Carl Cox or next Fatboy Slim. Just the fact that turntables outsold guitars last year is a definite indication as to the popularity and the support that the DJ industry is gaining.
And at just 13 years old, Daniel Morris is regarded as the school's newest rising star.
A few years ago, I wouldn't have known anything about turntables or mixers or anything, I don't know. I just wouldn't have a clue. But now, dance music has just hit this area. It's huge now.
Daniel is one of our youngest students and also one of the students that's shown the most promise from the course. His improvement has been unbelievable and his enthusiasm for it is original and fresh.
People ask me why I need lessons just to DJ sort of thing, but it's harder than people think. They just take you through everything you need to know. I wouldn't have a clue what to do if I didn't go there or anything, so.
Essentially, I think originality makes a great DJ. But before you have originality, you have to have knowledge to create your own style. Okay, you'll go.
Yeah, right.
But with any school, you've got to do your homework.
I practice about 2 hours a day, just home from school, just jump on it.
It probably interferes with his homework a fair bit. He probably doesn't do anywhere near as much homework as he's supposed to.
I always thought dance music was a bit, just a bit leery, but it's sort of grown on me, and it's the sort of music I prefer to listen to.
I really like Paul van Dyke.
No, I prefer Judge Jules.
You can't just say, okay, there's only 5 great DJs in the world. There's a lot more talent out there, a lot more. And in Australia, I've seen it.
hopefully over the next couple of years we'll have our own superstar DJs who are going to be giving the internationals, the European guys and the guys from the States a good run for their money.
They're all a bit mad, the Australians. So I think wherever you go where it's nutters, you're going to get a good party vibe. And Sydney definitely fits that bill.
You can just go clubbing round the clock from Thursday to Monday. It doesn't start. I don't know how they carry on, but they do.
The best decision I've ever made was to play on Bondi Beach for the Millennium Party, New Year's Eve, to like 20,000 people on Bondi Beach. It was absolutely amazing.
You know, you can't want to play it at a better town, really, definitely.
This is Frantic, one of the harder club nights in Sydney. It started in England, but it's made major inroads down under. And it's got some serious devotees. Heading that list is a house full of nutters for whom partying is the only thing that matters.
This house stands for having a party, pretty much any circumstances, any time, anybody who wants to come. As you can see, it's a bit of a porn ranch.
Go out as much as you can, just party as much as you can, hard as you can. You know, minimal amount of work, just cane it. Just, you know, go out and get on it.
Everyone pretty much bases their life workings around how many parties we're going to have on the weekend. It's not around work and stuff.
Get a life, drug addict. Get a life, drug addict.
And when they're not out partying, work's all about putting up as many flies as they can for their favourite clubs.
The boys have probably done 200-300 down on a run. We go for it until we're usually exhausted or we get our posters taken off.
Any more than 10 seconds and you're wasting time on poles. Get in and get out. Should be a 10-second job, I reckon.
We usually go out on weeknights, just pick a road, pick an area, and go for it.
It's all in the stroke work.
Well, I'm usually a bit worried about sort of what people are watching me and stuff like that.
Probably get a move on.
When you're flying all over town, there's only one method of transport that will do. The King, complete with a 2,000-watt sound system.
The King is it's an absolute classic Australian car. My King is 1972 model HQ wagon. We love just driving around with it full belt. It goes up to 31 on the volume thing. Never really goes below 28. Car charging, we call it, car dancing, whatever. You notice a crack on the windscreen, that's from too much of that when you're drunk. When we come back from flying, we get on the beers, get someone on the decks, start having a bit of a warm-up drive around here. Anyone who wants to jump on the decks, fair game, there's a big pile of records behind it.
I am the god of hellfire, and I bring you fire.
So when it comes to a banging night out in Sydney, the boys like to go on a club in Bender.
We love meeting new people, that's the best thing. That's the best thing about clubbing almost. Usually we like to go out with a good crew, big crew. The bigger crew, the better. You know, when you've got 10, 15 people charging around you, usually just take over the floor.
And they always end up at the club that they regard as home turf. Frantic.
Typical Sydney clubber, loves a glow stick every now and then, loves a little flashing light on the fingers. None of that with us. Just more straight down the line, hard charging.
house's attitude towards clubbing is go hard or go home, and we're here for a good time, not a long time.
When Home Nightclub opened in London, it was heralded as the way forward for clubbing in Britain. But before Home London, there was Home Sydney. With a capacity of 2,500 on 3 different levels, it's become not only the most successful club in Australia, but quite possibly the world.
Music is the answer to your problem.
There was a need for a club like Home in Sydney, just to bring the scene together. It was in danger of like fragmenting out. What Sydney needed was somebody to like take it by the balls and say, right, this is the way forward. I think we've raised people's expectations. People are no longer willing to put up with shit. That can only be good for everybody.
Do you want to get into the place or not? The door bitch is the bitch that gets to select and refuse the people at the door. So tonight, greasers everywhere. Oh, hold on for a second. I got cold hands. Go then, guys, have a good time.
We've got a policy that pretty much says dress to dance, and that's why we want people to come in like casual gear, like trainers and stuff like that. We really welcome that because we want people to be here to be happy and to dance.
At this point, I can't actually let you in.
You go to certain clubs and you can have really good music, good funky music, but like the crowd's, you know, wankers or anything. But then coming here, you got the bright lights and the different levels and the cool DJs and the good music and the good vibe, and it's like a roller coaster.
And who needs European DJs when your residents are some of Australia's finest?
Alex Taylor is an absolutely fantastic DJ. He's one of the guys that you can totally rest assured wherever you put him, in any room, in any club in the world, he will totally rock it.
It's fantastic. Before, the clubs I used to work at, no one faced the DJ, whereas here you can really feel the atmosphere. All you're doing is playing records, but for them it's like it's just Saturday night out, and it's like they're released for the week, and a lot of them like look to the DJ like a rock star, I guess, which is I think a bit of a wank, but that's the way it is.
Alex Taylor's a bit of a legend, excellent DJ. When he's going off down the front, it's the only place I'd be in the club, right in front of the DJ box, hands in the air, jumping about, he's going crazy. I dress like this during the week, and I come here to escape the world. People read books, I come here to get into the music and have a good weekend. Home Sydney just goes off. It's a great place on the water. Look out the glass windows on the Darling Harbour.
The views of the club are one of the main aspects that keep us here. It's really, really beautiful. It's an absolutely fantastic situation. It couldn't be any better.
So, some serious views and some very serious dancing.
Sydney's got a particular vibe that anywhere in the world just really doesn't have. The people here are just very adventurous and they really like to get up to all sorts of things.
And Millie's not the only hardcore party girl who's a regular at home.
Basically, when I come to home, I walk straight in and I go straight to the speakers, sit on there all night and just lose it to the speakers, basically. Turns me on. The music, that is. Some people say, my God, what have you taken tonight? And I've gone, absolutely nothing. The sound just takes me on. Everyone thinks just because we're down under and we're in Australia that maybe the music isn't as good, but people just don't know how hard we party down here.
But in London, it's a different story. After the fanfare opening, things haven't gone entirely to plan.
The initial aim was to set up a club we hope will be the flagship. As it happens, it's proven to be the most difficult and the most, the most taxing. Trying to attract the right people. It's not, not been easy. The main room in Sydney is, there's no club in this world that's better than that. Not Twirlo, not Fabric, not Cream, not Annie. It is unbelievable.
Right now, this is the place to be. While the Northern Hemisphere sleeps in the Sydney sunshine on Bondi, we're living it.
All over Sydney, there are people in offices just living for Friday night. But for James Cleland and his mates, the weekend starts that bit earlier and they go at it that bit harder.
During the week, really I'm a stockbroker. I have been for about 6 years, and it's a very stressful job. It's not my fucking fault, you know?
30 seconds.
I can't read your mind. As soon as that market closes...
15 seconds.
All you can think about is the weekend, that night, your social life.
We're in the last 10 seconds now.
It's a very, very exciting part of the day. Sign and send straight back to me, OK?
That's it, it's closed.
I find that going out to the bars and clubs is an important part of the relaxation process after a very, very stressful day at work. And I just don't think that there's too many places else in the world where you can finish work, 20 minutes later you can be on a boat, you can have the deck set up, you can have the music pumping, drinks flowing, just travelling around, viewing one of the most beautiful scenic sights that you can possibly ever see. Sydney is a party town. It really has matured enormously in the last 18 months. You can basically go out any night from Thursday through to Sunday and listen to any sort of music that you'd like. It's really all there.
And because most of the clubs are open all night, there's actually no rush to get there. So bar hopping is an essential part of the build-up to any big night out on the tiles. First stop, Chicane.
I think the bar scene here is extremely important. It allows you to meet up with your friends, have a social chat, and get ready for the coming night. As soon as you go out to the clubbing scene, it's much more full-on. Everyone's running around. You don't often get to talk and have genuine conversations with the people that you want to talk to.
Those in monkey suits.
The rampants.
I think that Sydney is a massive pickup joint. It's just simply a meat market. Certainly slip in Thursday, Friday night is definitely just a meat market. There's a lot of feisty young girls there ready for a bit of action.
What is rock and roll?
Everyone jumps. The Pacific Blue Room. It's a nice upmarket crowd. It's small, it's cosy, and you can have a lot of fun there. The main problem I've had when I've been clubbing in London is that the vast majority of the clubs seem to close at 3 a.m. In Sydney, really the peak of the night is not till generally after 3 in the morning. Everyone jumps.
So if you want a club that peaks well after 3 and stays open until very, very late, try one of the most popular clubs in Sydney, the Q Bar.
The Q Bar is the place that you often end up at the end of the night. It doesn't seem to close until hours of the morning that are bordering on hours of the afternoon. It's relaxed. It's got a couple of dance floors where they play a whole range and host of music. Chill-out areas, it caters for it all. It may have a little bit of that dirty disco image, but I think that's actually quite good. There's an old saying in Sydney that we've all been out for 3 drinks and come home 3 days later. I think it's happened to all of us.
Oh, God, the most amazing thing about the clubbing scene in Sydney, I think, is it that the fact that you can go somewhere till 11 o'clock in the morning and walk out, and it's really lovely and hot, and there's parrots flying around the city.
It's very, very baggy and sort of surfy and urban and hang loose, man, and hey, baby. G'day, mate. What's your favourite hobby, sport and all that?
I suppose what's make it special for me is the fact that
It's just a really nice place to be, really good atmosphere, really good vibe.
And of course, when the party's finished, there in Sydney, you just go and chill on the beach, and you can't do that here.
OK, so you've come here on holiday, you've been out to every club and bar worth going to, and you still want more. Well, if you want an alternative to jumping up and down for 8 hours, how about spending some time with a group who are probably hanging out right beneath where I'm standing now? Meet the Cave Clan, the real underground of Sydney.
The Cave Clan's a group who explore disused buildings, stormwater tunnels, basically anything that's underground and disused. It's almost like the sort of final frontier in exploration, when we just explore what's underneath us. The parties we have are a lot more chilled out than the sort of, you know, banging hard house parties that you get at the likes of Gatecrasher and Ministry of Sound. We go to all the trouble of like painting the places up and, you know, getting hundreds of blinking streetlights and all that sort of thing going, so create a real atmosphere. It's a lot more sort of sociable than, you know, jumping up and down in a club. So, but it's the main aim is to try and create our own atmosphere, and it really gives us license, the fact that we're doing it in these unusual places that people don't see so often, you know.
I think the best thing about going down underground Sydney is that you can be walking down the middle of the city and no one will know that you're there just meters below them, just, you know, walking along.
A lot of people get a kick out of it just because it's illegal. You know, it's sort of tied in with the whole sort of skateboarding, graph, parties kind of thing, you know. One thing that could be a bit of a risk is whether or not it will get busted by the cops, but you mean that's half the fun, you could say. We could probably get into clubs or gigs to see, you know, dance acts or whatever through the drainage systems, although we'd come out in the venue looking rather grubby, having grovelled through, you know, 21-inch side pipes and that, and, you know, lifting drills and that. There's a venue in Sydney that Fatboy Slim played at, and we managed to get into that through a very small drain.
But where are the best places to chill out underground?
Eternity is a tunnel that was recently completed. It's been under construction for about 3 years, and it's a 15-foot-high rock-blasted sandstone arch tunnel. It's a real favourite for taking large groups of people through. Another tunnel we go to is called the Blowjob 2000, and it's basically a 500-metre-long train tunnel that runs between two live train tunnels. When you stand in the archway between the live tunnel and the termination siding, when a train goes past you, the gale force winds that are exerted by the passing train are so strong they virtually knock you off your feet, and it's a really sort of, it's a real blast. Of course, you know, it's kind of a catchy name, you know, Blowjob 2000. When it rains, you've always got about an hour to get out of the drain. The basic rule is when it rains, no drains. It's a really interesting and, you know, very unique kind of thing to do, you know, especially in a big city like Sydney.
The gay scene in Sydney is massive. The Mardi Gras happens in March and is the biggest of its kind in the world, with hundreds of thousands of visitors. And the gay clubbing scene is bigger than ever. Its centre has always been right in the middle of town, on Oxford Street. And drag queens in particular are as much a part of Sydney as the Opera House.
A lot of people come to Oxford Street knowing that's where the drag queens hang out. So basically we've had control over this area for a long time.
I think the best thing about clubbing in Sydney, you can go to any venue and you can wear whatever you like. It doesn't matter if you're in drag or out of drag. No one really blinks in Sydney.
Hideous, darling, hideous. I think it's important to look good because that's your main aim, is to stand out in the club. You want to be impressive. I mean, there's nothing less than a daggy drag queen. basically every night in Sydney's a party night. Ennie's Bar is an early night sort of club. I think it closes by about midnight. But it has drag shows and drag things happening most nights of the week.
It's a very light-hearted venue. It's a family-orientated venue. People come to see the shows, have a drink before they go out onto another venue.
You're trying so hard to take it all away. I got my education, I got determination, I got imagination. Come on, give me a break, give it
The good thing about Sydney, and the thing I've found here, is the fact that the clubs are so close together that you can club hop from one club to another, not have to get in a car or get a cab to a totally different area, and that things are open so late. Gilligan's is a great sort of place to meet people before you go out. It's very relaxed, very stylish, great for cocktails, great service. It's just a lovely place to be.
Cocktails are wonderful. They've always been wonderful at Gilligan's. They go into a great deal of thought when they put their cocktail menu together.
Sydney drag queens are very much regarded as the elite in the clubbing scene. You get away with so much.
There's some people that will really compliment you and say, hey, you look fabulous, and there's other people that are just going, what's that, you know, but they just have to understand it is Oxford Street, and there is drag queens and gay people on this street, so they've got to accept it.
But in the end, all roads lead to Arc, Sydney's newest, biggest and most high-profile gay club.
And after you've done all your little running around and your cocktails and stuff, you always end up at Arc. I don't dance. I don't like sweating too much. I do get on the dance floor, but not a lot.
always and forever. That's what I thought our love would be. You and I together, babe. I guess I was living in a fantasy.
The gay clubbing scene in Sydney before Arc came along was very on one level. A lot of bars and clubs hadn't renovated anything, they hadn't upgraded anything, but Arc's lifted the whole standard of the gay scene on Oxford Street, and everyone's become a lot more polished and aware of that.
The music at Arc, I mean, it's got all the top DJs working there, so plus they have a lot of international guests also that fly over and play at Arc.
Sunday's always been like, you know, mass, church, you know. The gay boys come out on a Sunday night.
The upstairs might close at about 7 or 8, and you can go downstairs and party until about midday. So it's fantastic, you don't have to go home.
OK, so that's just a taster of what this city's got to offer. So do yourself a favour, get yourself down here, but be warned, be prepared to go hard or go home.
There's nothing holding us back from being the biggest capital of clubbing in the world.
My weekends are completely removed from what I do during the week.
The high point going out in Cape Town is seeing some fine women.
Ladies' nights are the best nights. The strippers, God,